Welcome back to the Chicago Tomahawk. I'm Mike, and I got my line mate Matt with me. And today, we've got a loaded podcast for you guys today. Obviously, as everybody knows now, Patrick Kane was dealt to the Rangers. I was really upset about it. I almost put out a emergency podcast on it. I'm glad that I didn't, because I had a lot of hate in my heart.
a lot of swear words. That
it would have been really bad, man. It would have been really bad. And you know what it is. I got a chance to sit back and really think about it. Is that, this isn't an example. This isn't like the Blackhawks trading Jeremy Roenick when he's in his prime to Arizona. Which I was really upset back then, and I probably would have said. I was probably saying even worse things, but. Kaner he should have been a lifelong Hawk. Now, the curtain hasn't closed in his career yet, but we're talking about a kid that was drafted by the Chicago Blackhawks and helped bring 3 Stanley Cups and is, considered one of the best Blackhawks of all time. Something I wanted to talk to you about is who you think the best Blackhawk of all time is. Go ahead and think about that while I kind of go on my little rant here. But I think Davidson did the right thing trading him, looking to get a haul back, but we didn't get what Patrick Kane was worth. So was it really worth sending him to New York so that that they can just go out in the first round, which is what I think is going to happen, or keeping him until the offseason and then deciding like, hey, do you want to come back or do you want to leave? Because at that point, the organization could have said, hey, look, we're looking to bring him back, but he's looking to go try and win a cup somewhere else. If he would have done that, I think that the fan base would have been, more supportive of the move, knowing that was a possibility. But the fact trading him for, a conditional 2nd round pick and somebody else, I don't even know who the hell it is, it just doesn't sit right in my mouth. It doesn't sit right saying Patrick Kane is playing for the New York Rangers. It's hard to look at. This guy was one of the best Blackhawks of all time. And it kind of makes Davidson, who's a new guy, taking over for a franchise that is really, really hurting right now, considering some things that they had going on prior with the sexual assault stuff and the guys who are running the show back then, and they've got a new group running it now, which is great. And they look to be doing the right thing. Trading Alex DeBrincat looked really bad at one point, but we got Kevin Korchinski, and it looks honestly to me, Korchinski is somebody that they can help come in and build a team around. Even though Seth Jones is still here, and we still got Reichel, who's going to be, I think, a full-time player next year, but. Kaner isn't, doesn't have one leg out of the league yet. He's still a really, really good player. And you get somebody like DeBrincat playing with him, and he's going to score. So, Matt, how do you feel about the Patrick Kane trade?
Yeah, I knew it was coming. Most of us knew it was coming.
Yeah.
And it just sucked how it ended. I would have liked to see him play another home game. Give him like a lap around the ice, and just kind of taking it in. The crowd probably would be screaming as loud as, like a playoff game win, But yeah, it happened, and you're bitter at first about it, and then you watch his first game in that red, white, and blue crap. Nothing against America, just the Rangers jerseys, but yeah, man, it was painful to see, and
it is, isn't it? Doesn't it? Like when you look at it, I'm just like, this isn't right.
Yeah, it didn't look right. He had all that Rangers swag on in his press conference.
Brutal, man.
And what's funny is, like 50% of the Rangers fans, they didn't want him.
Right.
They were all like, oh, we don't need Kane. We don't need Kane. He sucks. He's old and he's a bad human being, type of stuff like that. And
right.
The minute he gets there, you look at these same people that are whining about it. They're all applauding it. They're like, yeah, we got the greatest American-born player ever and stuff like that. And I'm like, come on, man. And he's on the ice. They're cheering him loud. It's good to see that he's probably going to have some fun there. He's got a rough start, though. The first 2 games, he's looked pretty bad. He's making good passes and stuff, but too many passes with Breadman. It's almost like they're forcing him, like to get a goal, get on that score sheet. And I think they said Panarin yesterday had 6 turnovers and trying to get the puck over to Kane. And they're 0-2 with Kane. So a lot of the Rangers fans are like, oh, maybe this wasn't as smart as we thought. I heard Ray Ferraro, the ESPN analyst in between the benches, he brought back a trade way back in the day. Do you remember when Teemu Selanne was with the Avalanche?
Yeah.
They brought Paul Kariya back because of that history they had with the Ducks all those years. Those guys were like a dynamic duo.
Right. And
they brought him back to Colorado, and it just did not work. They tried. They had an early playoff exit, and Kariya ended up, not even re-signing with them. So he kind of puts that in your head, like, oh, hold
on, really quickly. Didn't they both go back to the Ducks after that?
I believe they did. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
it
worked there.
Yeah, it just didn't work in that situation. And we had a tweeter actually. I forget who it was, but he goes, maybe they should call Artie Anisimov and get him back playing center just to get it jump started.
Yeah.
I was laughing my ass off about it. I'm like, yeah, guy's got a point because he was a big part of that line too.
He was a possession guy.
Yeah, he did his job, face-offs, and you get the puck to one of them and let them do their thing. But
he can get his reunion in New York.
Yeah, exactly. He started off, he had that famous, did like the Teemu Selanne shooting thing, and I remember they were, the other team was going after him for it. But anyway, I think they'll figure it out. It's going to take a while. The thing is, Kane has never been known for his defense. And, he had some plays yesterday in the game where when you watch him in the defensive zone, he is just like, he looks lost. Like he looks like he's trying to stay busy. Like, oh, look, I'm going to do my job. I'm going to keep my feet moving. But he just looks completely lost out there. Like he doesn't know what to do in his own end. And it showed yesterday because they ended up getting a goal off of it.
What though, in his defense, it's a new team, new system it's been not even a week yet, that he probably doesn't understand yet. And to his credit, man, I think that his D has gotten better since when he first got into the league. He wouldn't even back check, at the beginning of his career. And
he didn't even know what it felt like to be in his own zone. He would usually be at center ice or the other blue line getting ready for that pass. But
right. And he does
playoffs,
back
it's
check.
Different. Yeah, he does, but he missed some assignments yesterday that costed the team goals. And I'm not sure when their next game is, but I'm still going to watch it. I kind of would like to see Kane's first goal with the Rangers. I want to see I still enjoy watching him. He's he has unbelievable moves still. He went through 2 guys like nothing his first game. And Ray Ferraro was like, geez, they didn't even put a body on him. He just maneuvered and moved the puck back a little bit and got through him, made a beautiful pass to a guy, and he missed. But he's still very entertaining to watch. But I hope he can figure it out soon because he's really competitive, and I'm sure he's really hard on himself too. He looks pretty pissed off on the bench.
Well, the thing is that he's used to being the guy, and in New York right now, he's not the guy. He's
got a lot of guys there.
They have a lot of guys there, and to be honest with you, if I were to take any of those guys in a playoff series, I would still take Patrick Kane. The thing is that he has to be the dude, and he is capable of being that person. The thing about Patrick Kane, what makes him one of my favorite Blackhawks is that as the games got harder and the pressure came on and the games got bigger, he showed up every time, man. It wasn't that he's got a contract coming up, he's in a point drought. Oh, he just got his $10 million contract. Oh, he's in a point drought. That never happened, dude. He always produced, always. And you can't say that about any other player on that New York roster right now. I think that Vladimir Tarasenko is, I think that he's playing great for them. He's kind of like a man in his own world, I kind of see, because he's got like his own type of game, and Kaner needs maybe they should pair him up with Tarasenko.
he needs a shooter.
Yeah,
that's what
I would.
Since Panarin doesn't want to shoot.
Yeah, I would put him on a line with Tarasenko and let them play with each other, because one of Kane has an excellent shot. But in order for him to be able to do that, he needs another guy that is threatening to shoot. And that's what he had with DeBrincat. And that's what he had at one point with the Breadman, is because if you don't know if Patrick Kane is going to shoot, he's going to go top shelf on you and he's going to bury it every time. And he doesn't have that right now. That's what's going on with him and the Breadman right now.
Yeah, I think they should split it if it doesn't work next game. Or Panarin's got to say, hey, because Panarin has a very, very good shot.
He's got a good one-timer.
He's got an Ovi-like shot. That one-timer in that spot by the circle is almost the same spot. He could let it go.
Yeah.
And the first game, Kane gave him a nice feed, and it was a one-timer. The goalie made a nice stop. But that's like the only good one I've seen from them. And then it was just them like, no, you shoot. No, I'm going to make a better pass. Ooh, look at my sauce pass to you. It was way better. You can't pass and score. You need a guy to shoot the puck. So, I mean, it's really not a concern of ours because we're not Rangers guys. But I mean, I can care less what happens to them. I almost would like them to get to the finals so our pick gets higher in the I think it's the 2025 draft. It'd turn into a first round pick.
Right.
But yeah, they got to figure it out because, I mean, I also watched Boston yesterday. Those guys are absolutely on a crazy run right now. I think they're
10-0 on a 10-game winning streak.
They're 49-8-5.
They're the first team to make it to 100 points at this point in the season.
And you know what, man? Right now they're the team to beat. And I know they've been tested in the playoffs before. They've made it. I think they're the last couple of years they're like 1-2 in the finals. So I know they beat Vancouver. It was at 2011. But if you think about it, though, a lot of those the core players are still on that team. I mean Bergeron and you got Marchand. But
that's it.
They're the team to beat, man.
Yeah.
And going to Toronto, there's another team like wow, like they did very well. So Rangers got to figure it out.
I'll be honest with you, man. The only the only reason I'm saying that the Rangers are out in the first round is because the East is so stacked. Toronto didn't just make moves; they got incredibly better. They addressed some issues that they had with their team with the trades that they made. You look at Boston, they didn't really need to do much. You know, they added Tyler Bertuzzi, which I think is huge for a team like that because he could play gritty and he's got a scoring touch.
He got a nice assist yesterday.
Yeah,
right to Coyle, and he buried it. I think they won 3-1 or something against. You know what? It was more than that because it was a Ranger game. That's the game I watched.
Right.
Yeah, they played the Rangers yesterday, and the Rangers looked terrible.
Right,
and Bergeron had a nice goal. I think he's at 20-something goals this year. That's like his 10th time getting it. He's still a great player. Pasta's at 40. He's second in the NHL in goals. He's at 40-something. And then you got Tyler Bertuzzi, grinder. And that's a playoff guy. That's what you want. Like an Andrew Shaw, like, dude. They got your two goalies that are unbelievable right now. I mean, the team lost 8 times.
Yeah.
So they're the team to beat right now, man.
Yeah, but you know what? That also spells
jinx.
It sells recipe for disaster though too, where you have these teams that you know roll through. How many times have the Capitals rolled through the regular season just for a go out in 4 or 5 games in the first round? You know,
that's what I was telling my cousin who's a Boston guy. He's texting me. He goes, "So what team's Boston gonna destroy in the final?" And I'm like, you know what, man? You're going to watch an 8th seeded team come up because they've been in a playoff battle for months before the playoffs.
Yeah.
Grind it out and they could upset them, you know?
Yeah.
So be careful. The President's Trophy is one of the biggest jinxes in hockey.
Yeah. I think the Hawks were the last team to win a Stanley Cup after winning 13. The President's Trophy.
Yep.
And lucky number 13.
Yep.
Max Domi was also traded to the Stars for a 2nd-round pick. I think there was, they're giving him an opportunity to go to a team that could possibly win something. He's an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season. There's rumors that he's going to re-sign with the Hawks. I hope so. I like him. Kyle Davidson himself said that he signed Max Domi and Andres Athanasiou because he thought that they were good players and they're players that could, stick around for the Blackhawks and provide some leadership, which I found an interesting comment. And then the next day he trades Max Domi. So I'm looking for Domi to come back at the end of the season at maybe a $3 or $4 million deal at 3 years. That's my prediction.
Yeah, he might get more just because we have the cap space and sometimes you're like grateful that he wants to, be a part of the team, and that sells too. He's a good leader. We got Anton Khudobin in that trade, the former 2020 Stanley Cup final goalie for the Stars that year.
Right.
And he
had a good year.
He's fallen from 2020 though. I mean, he's been just hasn't worked out for him over there. But we also gave Dylan Wells away with Max Domi. He was another goalie. So, yeah, I think Max Domi will come back, and I hope he comes back.
Yeah. Jack Johnson was dealt back to the Avs. I think we talked about that before. I think it's a good opportunity for him. He knows the system there, and it kind of frees up our blue line so that we could get, one of our Rockford guys to come up to the big club for a little bit, get some experience before the Rockford Ice Hogs get into the playoffs. This one was also kind of tough for me. The Sam Lafferty and Jake McCabe dealt to the Leafs. I'll tell you what, man, adding those two guys to the Leafs is huge for them because Lafferty on a team that has an opportunity to win a Stanley Cup, to really get out there and put it out there, that's kind of a scary thought. I wish that we could have kept him. I'm not sure what his deal is like, if it was just a 1-year deal or what have you. But
1.5
oh man, what a steal.
1.1. Yeah, and I think he's got 2 years left.
Just the fact that we got him for Nylander is why I wanted to keep him around, because it was such a steal of a trade. And Jake McCabe, he gets an opportunity. He's played on some bad hockey teams his entire career. An opportunity for him to go to the Leafs and have an opportunity to play for in the playoffs and possibly win a cup. I'm going to be rooting for the Leafs, even though I'm not a Leafs fan, because you really feel for those guys who, they're pretty good. They get drafted by a team like Buffalo or Arizona, and they just kind of toil down there on these bad teams. Don't even get an opportunity to even compete to play in the playoffs. Finally get an opportunity to play in the limelight. So that's good for him.
That was a good trade. I think that was probably Davidson's best trade at this deadline. He got us 2 players, Joey Anderson, Pavel Gogolov, which I don't know much about, but we did get a 2025 first-round pick and a 2026 second-round pick. And we actually did retain $2 million of McCabe's, it's 50%, his $4 million deal. So they got Jake McCabe at $2 million, who's a good stay-at-home defenseman, which they needed.
Yeah.
And Sam Lafferty, we know he's a grinder, 110% every shift effort, and that's what you need. You need a guy like that. You need those lunchbox dudes, go to work, put your hard hat on type of guy.
He's going to be out there. He's a playoff player, man.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a fan favorite over there for a while, for the couple years they do have him. But I am also thinking that this is probably the year that the Leafs are going to get out of the first round. Yeah. I mean, they added Ryan O'Reilly, which probably was the most underrated trade at the deadline period.
Yeah.
That's a guy, a two-way guy. We talked about him already. He's got a hat trick in one of the games already. He's playing great. They added, obviously, McCabe and Lafferty. They brought in Luke Shen, who was a pretty good defenseman for the Tampa Bay Lightning when they were winning. He actually was drafted by the Maple Leafs years and years ago, but they got him back for some good playoff experience. And they also added our good buddy Gustafsson from the puck moving offensive
Dynamo?
minded defenseman but who cannot play defense. I wasn't sure about that one. Maybe he's just there for the power play time. I would sit him and I would make him sit unless it's power play time because you don't want goals against. But yeah, they made a lot of noise, and I give a lot of credit to Kyle Dubas. I mean, he's given up a lot to get this team over, and they got to play now. Now it's on them. It's this GM. He's done everything for them. So you can't. The media and all the fans cannot be going after this guy. He's tried hard, and I give him a lot of credit.
It's kind of one of those situations where where if it doesn't work out, the GM can't say that he didn't do enough. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's when you got to start moving players, I think.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you can't fire coaches. It's not the coaches.
Right.
It's the players. So
right.
I still think the weakest part is the goaltending. Hopefully they can tighten up. I mean, they did add some good defensive guys. Jake McCabe. They had Sam Lafferty could play he's a good back checker. And you got Ryan O'Reilly, who's more responsible in his own zone than pretty much every Maple Leaf forward out there right now. So I think this could be the year. It's just they're probably going to run into Tampa Bay, so it's going to be interesting. They're like you said, the East is absolutely stacked. So you got those top four teams. I think obviously you got the Bruins. I guess you can consider the Rangers. I mean, it could be. It's actually like six. The Hurricanes, the Leafs, Hurricanes, Bruins, Rangers. There's so many good teams, man. So one of these teams, they're going to get bounced in the first round, and it's going to be like a shocker. Like, whoa, it's going to be like when Steven Seagal died in like Executive Decision. Like, I can't believe the star of the movie's dead, you know?
Yeah.
So it's going to be crazy.
Oh, and that's when John Leguizamo took over as the badass of the movie.
Yeah, we needed him.
So before we go any further, I got to bring your attention to our sponsors, DraftKings and Manscaped. The action never ends at DraftKings Sportsbook, especially this summer. With tons of ways to bet on all your favorite sports, you can fuel your fandom and feel the heat of the season like never before. Plus, right now, DraftKings Sportsbook is giving new customers a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's right. Make your first bet up to $1,000, and if it doesn't win, you'll get another shot to cash in. You can throw down on all the major action for hockey, baseball, basketball, golf, MMA, and more. Best of all, DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. You can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Now, if there's one game I want to watch, it's the Blackhawks versus the Senators Monday night. Alex DeBrincat comes back to the United Center, and I expect him to get a standing ovation. How many goals do you think he's going to score, Matt? I'm going to put him down for 2.
I got him down for a Hattie for sure.
A Hattie? Okay.
It's gonna be like a FU middle finger to the management.
Sign me. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code THPN. Make your first deposit and get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's promo code THPN only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See the show notes for details. Now, Manscaped also wants to let you know that they sell beard products. That's right. They are once again revolutionizing men's grooming with the brand new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. From a beard trim to a fresh shave, the technology behind the Beard Hedger Pro Kit allows you to shape your signature beard look. Now you can finally use Manscaped products to make your drapes match your carpet by going to manscaped.com and using code Tomahawk20 for 20% off and free shipping. Now, be sure to remember, it's 20% off, free shipping with the code Tomahawk20 at manscaped.com. Matt, Lukas Reichel has been recalled to the Blackhawks, which is great. I'm glad that he's going to come up. Maybe that's like a message to him saying, hey, Kaner's not here. You are going to be our guy. Do you think that's the message?
I think it's kind of a distraction. I think it's, let's bring this kid up to keep people interested, maybe.
Sure.
I don't like what's been going on with his development. I mean, when he was called up the last time, he was on a 3-game point streak, best player on the ice, and they sent him down because they said they want him to play in different situations and scenarios.
Right.
Okay. So what changed since? I mean, like, why is he back up then? Because it's been the same. I don't know if Rockford's even competing, but it just doesn't make sense to me. I think it's too many head games with him and the fans. I think sometimes the Hawks, they've been like this since I was a kid. They think that we're stupid and like, oh yeah, we're going to call him up. We went on a play down. Well, why would you send him down in the first place when the guy's on an incredible hot streak?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense to me. He should have been on the team probably from the beginning, but I understand they don't want to rush him. They're very patient with him. They don't want a Kirby Doc like thing again. I understand, but to call him up, send him down, call him up, send him down, that does nothing.
Yeah.
You got to learn the grind of being in the NHL. You got to play against better competition. If you're lighting it up down there, okay, great. That's good. You're supposed to do that. So give the guy a new challenge and let him finish the year here at least.
Yeah.
Don't keep sending him up and down. That's not going to do you any good. That's what they did with that poor kid, Jeremy Morin. Remember him back in the day? Very skilled kid, good player. But I feel like they messed with that kid so much. Even Jack Skilly, they called him up and down, up and down, up and down. It does nothing. You got to give the guy a chance. I mean, if you got Caleb Jones on the ice all the time, you can give this guy a chance. Right. I mean, it's not, we're not going anywhere. Let him, like last night, he made a great play in the defensive zone, maneuvered around a defenseman, got the puck to Athanasiou, rushed down the one side. Athanasiou hit a pinching Seth Jones, and he buried it for the first goal. That was all because of Reichel. He got the assist, the secondary assist. He made a good play. That's what we need to. That's what we're going to learn from him. We're not going to learn anything from him in Rockford anymore. So I think he should finish the year here. And if they send him down, I don't understand what they're doing with him. I don't know what it is.
If Caleb Jones is playing, I think Isaac Phillips should be on the ice. Because I think that Isaac Phillips is a better defenseman than Caleb Jones. I don't know why. I don't know why they even ice him.
100% agree with that. Ian Mitchell should get a better chance than Jones. Yeah. I understand you signed him, but he could still play. Yeah. There's a lot of defensemen that I don't know the hype with Connor Murphy either. I know on a radio station I heard like the DJ saying, "Well, who are the Hawks? Who are the young kids going to cheer for?" I mean, we got good Seth Jones. They got Connor Murphy, and I'm like, what? Like, what? Yeah, he's a solid player, but I mean, what is up with like the city like making this guy to be something like bigger than that? He's not. He's just I think a bottom 4 defenseman. Okay. If that, and I know he's the longest tenured Blackhawk now, which is kind of crazy to think, but he is.
Well, Taves is still on the team. He's not playing.
Well, that's the current one playing.
Sure.
But it's still like, he's been on the team that long, and what can I name one thing he's done that's good on the ice? I'm sure off the ice he's loved, and we've talked about him being good in the locker room, but if you're good in the locker room, I mean, Marty Lapointe was good in the locker room too, but he was on the back 9 of his career when he was here, and at some point you got to take the next step and become a better player. Like be known for something. Like what does he do? Is he a shutdown guy? Or is he going to put some points up? He's just there to me. You know, he's just filling in a roster spot right now.
Yeah.
So he's got to, I guess, get an identity. Like what are you going to be, dude?
I mean, he's been here for quite a long. We should know what that is.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Jarmelson. This guy's going to block shots. That's his job.
I mean, he was good defensively too. He wasn't just a body in front of shots.
But he had his identity. Like,
sure.
Look at his stats. He was a freaking shot blocker. Look at Duncan Keith. He was a two-way guy. He could produce a lot of points and couldn't play defense in the end as good, but we know Brent Seabrook. He was a clutch guy who would score goals, and he could shut you down and play a lot of minutes. And even Brian Campbell, this guy's going to skate the puck through 7 guys and set Kaner up, stuff like that. But what can we say for Connor Murphy? I can't say anything. I don't know what he is yet.
And it's been 5 seasons?
Yeah, 5 seasons, and we gave away a really, really good defenseman that should have his number retired by this team.
Yeah.
It's insane.
And definitely not having another player wearing it.
Oh, yes, that drives me crazy.
I'm still steamed about that.
There's a lot of guys, man. I see, Seth is wearing number 4. You got Reichel wearing 27. Yeah. You got the kid from Orland Park, I think, is wearing 24. It's like, come on, man. God. Proby was a legend.
Yeah, he was a hot legend.
Stuff like that. It's just like, oh, man. But, he can't retire them all, I guess, right?
What if Korchinski came up and they gave him number 7? How would you feel about that?
If it were, yeah, you got to retire Siebes. I mean, I wouldn't. There's got to be that respect in the locker room. Like, even if he's not retired yet, see, that's what like a guy like Taves would be like. No, you can't have that number. You know.
Yeah.
Sorry, I like you, kid, but no, just stuff like that.
Yeah.
You can't have that. And I would be very upset if they did that.
2 and 7 and 4, I think, should be up in the rafters, man. I think that what Nick Jarmelson brought to the team during that era and what he did for the team deserves to have his number retired.
So do you remember when they retired, you probably don't because you're not a Boston guy, but Phil Esposito wanted his number 7 retired. And Ray Bourque, his number was 7. And they ended up, Ray Bourque doubled his number. I think he made it 77.
Right.
In honor of him. And Phil Esposito was like, that is the most classiest thing I've ever seen. And, if it comes to that, I hope Seth Jones doesn't, give a problem to Jarmelson. Hey, hell yeah, I'll change my number for you, dude. You're a legend here. I just can't believe they allowed it to begin with.
What if he's like, fuck you, I'm Seth Jones?
Man, that would be terrible.
It would. I mean,
it is still kind of weird that they retired Keith Magnuson's number. He was a good defenseman, but he wasn't Pierre Pilote. If you go back and look at Pierre Pilote's numbers, that dude should have had his number retired when freaking
while he was playing.
Tony Esposito and Makita were getting their numbers retired. It's insane.
Yeah. Didn't he have like 1,000 games played straight or something like that?
I'm not sure, but I know he was like
at the goalie
Duncan
position.
Keith. He was Duncan Keith of that era, Pierre Pilote.
Right.
He was that good. And he just didn't get the, like the hype like, Bobby Hall and all those other guys were getting because he was a star. So, but yeah, man, here's something to think about. I'd be very upset if they retired Chelios's number 7 and he had to share it with Seabrook. That would make me more upset.
It would me too.
And I would be like, Chelly, I'm not taking away. He was a fantastic defenseman.
Yeah.
Amazing hockey player. But Brent Seabrook won 3 cups here. I don't care how many Norris trophies you won as a Blackhawk. You didn't do shit in the playoffs here.
Right.
You never got it done. This guy got it done.
Nick Lidstrom said that Chelios was one of the best defensemen that he's ever played with. And if he was making a starting 5, that Chelly would be his partner.
See, I thought Nick Lidstrom was at his best with like guys like Brian Rafalski and I forget who his partner was in the 90s, but it might have been Chelios. But to me, he's a Red Wing. He'll be a Red Wing forever. He was just not I was so bitter about that trade, man. As a kid, I was so ticked off. Like I knew they weren't going to re-sign him, and he wanted to go chase a cup and everything. But come on, man, that's the Red Wings, and you made it public. Like I would never play there, and you accepted the trade, man. It's like that's hypocritical. And kids like me, I couldn't get over that. I was so upset. And my buddy had a Chelios jersey. We'd play hockey across the street every day. I think he threw it in the garbage. He was so upset. He was like in tears at school the whole day. And I'm like, it's all right, man. We're gonna be all right. we still got jammed off in a body, But yeah, it was tough for a lot of people.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I don't even want to get into that. I was probably at my worst when Roenick was traded, but for Seabrook's case, he's got over 1,000 games played as number 7, 3 cups. To be honest with you, man, Duncan Keith wouldn't have the career that he had if it wasn't for Siebes.
And he'll say that first.
Yeah,
Duncan Keith will publicly say that. And I think you said it before. Siebes was a big part of his, run. Yeah. And I think Siebes will say the same thing about Keith. Like Duncan Keith made me better. I was on the ice a lot with him. I played the same amount of minutes. I blocked the shots. I did the work, and I covered his ass when he was pinching. That was my job, and he did good. And Siebes scored one of the biggest goals in Hawks history.
He
against
did.
the Red Wings. I mean, I was at that game.
Oh my God, I was in tears.
My favorite jersey was covered in beer because they took away the Jarmelson goal before it, and then and then again it gets covered with celebration. Let's see. So I kept that jersey. It reeks like shit, but I mean that was my memory of Sieb scoring that huge goal on Jimmy Howard in 2013. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And hey, he steps up in big games, man. He was clutch.
Right. So to go through some of these trades, man, just to kind of go over like the NHL, and then I want to end it with your all-time favorite, who you think the Mr. Blackhawk or who the best Blackhawk is.
Heartbreak.
Yeah. So we already talked about the Leafs. They got better. We talked about the Bruins. They added Orlov and Tyler Bertuzzi. I would probably say, namely, I think Tyler Bertuzzi is a huge addition for that team. Why don't you quickly go over the Bruins really quick and then go over the Leafs?
So the Bruins got Orlov, a good Russian defenseman from the Capitals, he's a stay-at-home type of guy. Very, very smart for them. And obviously Bertuzzi, I watched his game yesterday against the Rangers. And he made a nice play. He dumped the puck in. They chased it, and he ended up getting it back behind the net, and he centered it to a wide-open Charlie Coyle. And that happened to be the game-winning goal. So already he's proven he can fit, and that team is stacked as it is. And I think they're going to get Taylor Hall coming back soon, too. So that's the team to beat right now in the East. And then the Leafs, obviously, we went over it. And this is my opinion. I think the Leafs did the most. They added the right players, and they sold a lot. I mean, they gave a lot of their future away to... it's going to be painful for them. It's going to be just like us now. Eventually, it's going to catch up to them. Yeah. But, hey, when you haven't won in 1,000 years, you got to go for it. And they got the guys to do it. This could be the year they get out of the first round, I think. I'm hoping. But I don't know if they're going to win because the East is just so damn good. And then, you got Tampa. They're battle-tested. The Lightning, one of the weirdest trades to me was the Lightning trade to Nashville.
Yeah.
Tanner Generot. The Lightning gave so much for this guy.
Couldn't believe it.
I think he's got 14 goals or something. That's nothing. And then you look at the Kane trade. Wow, we got a nobody, and
they got 2 firsts for Tanner, didn't they?
I think 2 firsts. There's so much involved in that trade. It's crazy. It's almost as long as the Kane trade. But Tampa's good. They're proven. I mean, they can win again. They really could. But I think this is the year that Toronto is gonna make it tougher for them, because it looks like as of now they're gonna play each other.
I want to go over the West really quick, and namely, I just want to go over the Kings trading Jonathan Quick. He was the reason they've got 2 cups, to be honest with you. They had some good teams, but he kept them in. He kept them in it in 2014, that's for sure. And he was traded to the Blue Jackets, which I don't know why they would do that right now. A lot of players were really upset in the locker room that he was traded.
Not the locker room, the plane. They were on the plane when they found out that Quick was traded.
Really?
They were on the plane coming back to LA. And I don't mean to cut you off, but I was listening to their TV guy, Jim Fox, who's really, really good analyst. And he said that plane was so emotional. It was like all the energy was sucked out of the team that night on the flight. Quick was so upset. He's hugging everybody. He even went to the media guys, giving them hugs and thanking them and everything. And they said he was really upset. Yeah. Like he was very caught off guard and pissed. And this is different from like the Kaner trade.
Oh yeah.
This guy didn't want to go. This guy wanted to be a lifer, and he should have been a lifer, like you said.
Yeah.
And without Jonathan Quick, the Kings, there's no, I guess you could call them a little dynasty. They had two good years.
I wouldn't call them a dynasty.
Just without him, they're just on the bubble wild card playoff team. Maybe they'll make it. They'll get bounced eventually, but he got them over the top. And I think a crazy stat I read about him in 2012, their first cup, right? I think it was 2012. They lost 15 games, 1-0.
Wow.
So I think it was something like that, maybe 10 or 15 games. I don't have the thing in front of me, but he had 12 shutouts that year, I think, too. Can you imagine if that was the other way around? He'd have Tony Esposito's record probably, 15 shutouts.
Imagine if he played for the Hawks at that time.
Yeah, he wouldn't have to kill himself and break his back like he did. I mean, that poor guy, he can still stretch him out, man. He's a very flexible goalie, very athletic, and yeah, he ended up getting bounced over to LA, which he's probably a little bit happier about. You know,
What do you mean Vegas?
I'm sorry, Vegas. He's not. I don't know what he would have done in Columbus. I don't even know what the point of that trade was. Maybe just another flip job just to get a pick out of it or something. But still, I deep down, man, I'm hoping the Knights sweep the Kings if they meet in the playoffs, just so quick and kind of say, yeah, you guys fucked up, and I'm going to make you pay for it.
Yeah. So, where do you think, talking about trades, where do you think Kane ranks where does he rank in the Blackhawks heartbreaking trades between, say, Jeremy Roenick to the Yotes, Chelly to the Wings, Belfour to the Sharks, back to Phil Esposito to the Bruins, Amani to the Yotes, Panner and Dell to the Blue Jackets, and lastly, Kane to the Rangers? Where do you think he ranks in that? Me personally, I would put
top 2?
No. I'd put him probably near because it was kind of somewhat expected, kind of a thing.
Yeah, we knew it was coming.
So probably towards like the bottom, to be honest with you. Pattern to the Blue Jackets, I thought was different because he was going to be asking for a ton of money. And it was a lot at the time. That was money that the Blackhawks didn't have. They didn't have to give. So trading him to the Blue Jackets made sense because we thought that we would be getting a Brandon Saad back. That was the Brandon Saad that was traded away. And he was still a good player, but he wasn't the player that he was that we traded away. And obviously Panarin went out to, he's still the bread man. He got his $10 million deal. There's no way the Blackhawks could have afforded that. So I kind of, the writing was kind of on the wall for that. So that wasn't really as heartbreaking to me as saying Roenick to the Yotes or, Belfour to the Sharks, Amani to the Yotes. Those were big ones for me. Even Chelly to the Wings was brutal.
That was, we went over that. That was very heartbreaking. For me, I would probably say the Roenick trade was the most heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Just because he was in his prime. This guy, I think the last 2 years of his deal, he put 50, and then he put 51 in the next year. That's 101 goals in 2 years. That's Ovi-like, And to let him go over $400,000 more a year, I think he wanted a 4-year, I forget, I think it was only like $4 million. And I guess the Coyotes were going to pay it. And so they made the trade, and we got Jamnoff back, and we did get some first-round picks, I think. But for me as a kid, that was very tough. And the Belfour trade was very hard for me being a goalie. That was my idol, my hero.
I loved him. I still do. 200
wins, plus 200 plus wins. A rookie of the year. I think he won some. Not sure if he might have won a couple Vezinas. For him to go was tough, and then seeing him win with Dallas was, it was cool. But you want to see him as a Blackhawk. But if you want to go by numbers, I think the Phil Esposito trade was probably one of the dumbest trades in Hawks history. I mean, Bobby Hall, said this is a guy I want to play with. This guy I can get him the puck. He's a power forward. And he was putting up good numbers that year. I think he had 4 years with the Hawks. He was putting up very good numbers. And he goes to Boston.
Blows it up.
He's potting 60 goals, 50 goals, 40 goals. In Chicago, he just, it didn't get over I don't think he got over 30, but he was very close. And he was still young.
Yeah.
but I mean, he made his money in Boston, and I probably would rank the Kane trade a little. It's heartbreaking if you're a kid, like kind of like us with Roenick and stuff. The kids are probably like, "Oh no, that's my hero. He's gone now," and like it's got to be tough on the kids right now. But yeah, I would still rank probably the Roenick the hardest. For me, Breadman was a little tough just because that could have been the next wave taken over for Kane and Taves. And I think we could have made it work. I know he was going to ask for more money, but don't forget, we signed him for a 2-year, $12 million deal. So he's making $6 a year. Bowman had 2 years to figure it out. You know, he could have moved some guys around, and some guys actually ended up retiring. We lost Siebes.
Siebes didn't retire. He didn't retire till like 4 or 5 years after that, though.
Yeah, and you got guys like Crawford. We had money to. I think we could have made it work. I mean, I would have made it work, just because it's a generational player, you know, and you got him. You got him for nothing. You signed him as a free agent, you know. So that was tough. But Kaner, it's going to be up in the top 10 tough, heartbreaking trades to watch. But yeah, I would probably go with Roenick being the number one for me, just because of his age, his prime, and what he did after it. He just I would have loved to see him hoist as a Blackhawk. I think it would be so cool if he won a Stanley Cup here.
Who do you think is the all-time Blackhawk?
The all-time greatest Blackhawk?
Yeah. Now hold on. Let me help you out a little bit here. This isn't like a all-time Blackhawk by stats. You know, this isn't like all-time Blackhawk. You know, like who do you think is the guy who really personified being a Blackhawk?
Patrick Kane. Easy 3 Stanley Cups. Drafted by the Hawks, played his, he pretty much his whole playing career here until recently, and I would love to see him stay, but right now, Kaner, and I'd probably go, you got to give Mikita props. He played so many games here, but I think it comes down to the championships. People remember that. Even the top guys like, Keith, Taves, and Siebes, Hammer, Sharpie. I mean, those guys were here for all 3 of them. Those guys to me are, the all-time, but I'd probably give the edge number 1 to Kaner.
I'm going to go, this is a hard one, man. For me, it's between Stan Mikita and Jonathan Taves. And I'm going to tell you why Kane isn't even in the bubble anymore. Is because Taves and Mikita have never worn another jersey other than a Blackhawk sweater. And, Mikita, he scored a ton of points. Kind of funny. He was actually a tough guy at the beginning of his career. Yeah. Then he turned it around. I think he won the Art Ross, the Hart Trophy, and the Lady Byng in the same season. And, he captained the team to a Stanley Cup win. And, I just don't want to forget the history.
I agree.
Which makes it really tough for me. But I want to mention Stan Mikita, but, Jonathan Taves, he never got into any trouble. He got the C at a very young age. He led from the front. He scored big goals. He put up points, played both ends of the ice, and he's hasn't worn another sweater. And I think that's hard to compete. I think Kaner's got he has the points, and he's got more games played, but I think Jonathan Taves made it really easy to get behind him, and hasn't really been in the tabloids for anything negative too, which means that he was, a leader that led his teams to 3 Stanley Cup champions. So that's
I agree. Yeah.
It's hard, man. It's really hard because you look at Kaner and he's always been a great player, but he's a Ranger now, and Taves, to his credit, the reason he's not playing is because his body's turning on him. he can't play. And he was having a really good season this year. It's really, I think that kind of adds to it too, that his playing career is somewhat being taken away from him because of his health.
You got to look back at what he did in the playoffs too. He was asked to do other things. Kane was just pretty much asked to go out there and score.
Right.
Taves had to do really hard things. And 2015 alone probably took some years off his career.
Yeah.
It was a tough series. He played tough against Ryan Kessler. He played tough against Vancouver. Those were even the Ducks. The Vancouver series, we ran into them like 2 years in a row. Actually, 3 years in a row. He played tough, really tough. And Kaner didn't do that. So you got to respect that. It makes you really respect guys like, Patrice Bergeron and Ryan O'Reilly. They're doing, they're doing the little things that the camera, like the fans won't go crazy about. But like a little stick check, like this guy just saved a goal doing that. I mean, it's not like a Showtime Patrick Kane backhand, it's not sexy enough, but
sure,
just it's just the unheralded things, So I think, I agree with you. I just think with the points, probably right now, Kaner will go down as one of the best Blackhawks, and Taves is right up there with him, right behind him, I think.
Yeah.
Stan, too, and I got loads of respect for guys who wear one sweater. It's amazing to me. It's loyalty both ways. I love it. And you know what? Kaner wanted to go. This is what Kaner wanted. So, that's kind of what could Davidson really do? He just tried to make the guy happy. I wish he just would have done a little bit better for the organization he's running to get a better return. But, he was pretty much handcuffed by it. So I guess he did the best he could. But this is another thing. This makes you really appreciate Alexander Ovechkin.
Yeah.
This guy has all his goals with one team.
Yeah.
Gretzky was on 4 different teams.
Sure.
So I got loads of respect for Ovi. This guy's going to do it with one franchise, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So, and I hope he does it. I don't think he's going to, no one's going to catch Gretzky's scoring record, but goals record, I think it would be good for the game, and I'm happy for Ovi. Tons of respect for guys that wear that sweater their whole career, and they end up going to the front office or doing something else with the team. It's awesome. The loyalty's great, but going back to Quick, the loyalty with him, I thought they would have done him better. At least give him like, hey, Quickie, we got to trade you. We need salary. We need space.
Yeah,
you're getting older. You're not playing much, but I would have said, hey, and maybe after this year, we're not going to re-sign you. Yeah. I don't think I would have traded him. I think I would have let him finish as a King.
I agree. Instead of blindsiding him on the plane, which on top of that's got to be embarrassing,
Yeah, like I said though, now he's probably got like a reason to just absolutely go out and be a monster. He could show this team like, you guys messed up big time, and I'm gonna make you pay for it. And like, we've seen stories like this, man. Like, this happens. So if I'm the Kings, I'm terrified.
If I'm the Vegas Golden Knights, I'm going to say, hey, I want you to take whatever you got going on right now, and I want you to save that for the playoffs.
Well, yeah, like, we're going to use this.
Yeah,
I'm going to use this in the playoffs. I am going to use this every game. I'm going to have it messaged above my locker.
Or they should put in like the original trade. It's like, this is originally what they wanted to do. This is what they thought you were worth.
This is the motivation for us. We are going to destroy these guys and show them that we're better. And it could happen, man.
You know what, man? I think a case could be made for Brent Seabrook too for best Blackhawk, because just a blood and guts guy like that. Yep. I think Keith got a lot of the glory, but Siebes was a big time guy.
All those guys, those core guys, they got to be in the conversation.
Mikita, Taves, Siebes. That's where I'm at.
Hammer, even Sharpie.
Man, Sharpie. The only reason for those guys is that they played on other teams.
That's true, yeah. Like Bobby Hall too was a great Blackhawk. But he just ended up wanting a lot of money, and Works is like, yeah, okay, and sent him away. But they were good Hawks. Even Roenick. Roenick was a good Hawk. He loved the sweater. He loves this. He still loves the city.
Yeah, he does. I was just talking about all-time Hawks.
Yeah, I think, like you said, if if they wore the sweater their whole career, they're automatically higher.
Yeah.
I like that. I know Keith ended up going to Edmonton for a season, and that was stupid.
It took him out of the running. He could have been right there.
That was a hard one for me.
I don't even know why he had to play. Why couldn't he just retire? Just say, hey, man, it's over.
Well, he wanted his money. He wanted
his
$5 million is a lot, and he ended up retiring early, and it ended up hurting the Hawks.
Yeah,
we had to, I mean, it didn't hurt us, but it's not like we were competing. But still, we had to pay. So, yeah, I think Siebes. So far, Taser. I know he's still out there. He's not gone yet. And Makita. You wish Kaner could have stayed here too, because he's going to go down as the best American-born player.
Right.
But it just doesn't. It sucks that he's gone, but I guess you got those three guys that were lifer Hawks, and they're up there, man, as top guys.
Everybody, let us know what you think. Who's the all-time Blackhawk #1? I'd love to hear what you think. Get us on Twitter, message us there, or email us, shytomahawk1@gmail.com. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one. This is the Tomahawk, and we're out of here.